Hello everyone, and welcome to another exciting oil painting video. I am your humble host, John, and we're going to get started here in a second. We're not going quite as big today, you can tell. This is Ampersand Gessobord, and we've worked with it a few times. It's a 9x12. We're going to go a little smaller today. We're not, however, going to go smaller with our brush. We're still going to use our 1.5 inch brush. And one of the reasons why I wanted to go smaller is to show you. A lot of people, when they first start out painting, they get real intimidated by big brushes, especially if the painting's not, 100 by 100. The big brush is your friend in a lot of ways. Now, if you're going to do a 5x7, probably not. But if you're going small like this, and you're going to do a shoot it from the hip type of thing, use a big brush. You're going to get the real nice strokes. You're going to get the real nice everything. And it's going to work out real good. Now, today, what I thought we would do is I had one little thing in mind. The whole composition, no, but just one area in mind. I haven't done any like pointed mountain peaks. So let's go into there. Let's do some pointed mountain peaks. Okay, that's it. Let's do a couple little things here. See the way I'm holding the brush? Just loose. Kind of whatever. That's it. Okay, I'm going to put this up here. I'll just fill this in. Now, as you can see, it's mainly green. We're going to take care of that shortly. I'm just filling it in. What I'm doing down here doesn't matter. You can scribble it up. Doesn't matter. You just want the general shape. Okay. There we go. Filling that. There we go. Now, a couple things. Like I said, for right now, don't even worry about the color. Doesn't matter. I'm going to put in some Payne gray and some brown. Well, actually, my burnt umber is my brown. Maybe a little raw sienna. Just whatever. You don't want the peaks all the same height. So I got a smaller one, up, kind of down in a pit, up, down a little bit, up. Just scattered all over the place, okay? Now, before I get the real color and the highlights and everything else, let's get the sky in. And that way we can kind of alleviate messing up stuff. So, whoa, went right on the top. I don't understand how I missed so badly there. That's right, the big brush. I just messed it up totally. That one. There we go. Now we're better. And then just do what we normally do. Go down. I mean, we're doing this, handling this, as if those were the trees. Remember how we do the trees all the time? And then, we just put the sky in between them and stuff? We're doing the same thing. Except instead of trees or mountains. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. Our only goal is to have fun. And then if we get a nice painting out of it, awesome. If we don't, we'll figure it out and do it anyway. And the thing of it is, once you do it long enough, you're going to get a lot of nice paintings as you go. So this technique I use, I don't even know if it's a technique, it's just my style, I guess, is a little awkward at first. That's fine. The big thing is you got to let go. You can't really worry about stuff. You got to have fun first and foremost. Throw the color down. Find any kind of interesting shapes. That's what you go with. Really, I mean, I hate to oversimplify, but that's all it is. So many people get painting, especially oil painting, so overthinking it. I get it. Oil painting's been around forever, and how in the world can I be worthy of using a medium that Leonardo da Vinci used, or, Raphael Sanzio, God forbid I use that same medium. No, they did it their way. I do it my way. It's oil painting. It's painting. It's art. It's fun. Don't worry about all that other shit, because that's all it is shit. Their style and their whatever made them masters, of course. If you intend to be like that and that's what you want to create, go for it. Take all the lessons. Go to school. Learn the grisaille method of oil painting. Learn how all of them did it with, 30 layers of glazes and stuff. There is nothing wrong with that if that's what you want. If, however, you want a simplistic approach that yields really nice results, really good results, and it's a lot of fun, and it doesn't take 3 months to do one painting, then you do something like this. And I'm not the only one. There's a lot of artists that do it like I'm talking about. But my paintings will never, ever be thought of in the same category as a Da Vinci, obviously. Okay, there's no question. But that's not my goal in life. My goal in life is to create beautiful paintings that people want to buy for a reasonable amount of money. And reasonable is very reasonable if you ever go to my shop. And that's it. And make it so everybody else can do it too. Okay, so there's our sky. Right now, this means nothing. So I'm going to go with a little bit of brown, a little bit of raw sienna, a little bit of Payne's gray. Yeah, I still got Viridian in my brush. Doesn't matter. Okay, so let's go back and redefine now. There we go. Now this is going to be a little thicker than when we first put on, and we'll adjust the thickness as we go, because we're going to go real thick on here, but not crazy. Now I don't want these things to be smooth either. They're mountains. They're going to be rugged in places. They're going to be to where, they're going to have sharp edges and stuff like that. So I'm not taking any special precautions with that. I don't want everything smooth and perfect. And I'm looking to get, like this stuff out here, not a big deal. They're mountains. It's nature. As I put on highlights and the shadows and stuff, we'll get a little bit more technical, but not much. You've seen enough of my videos where I don't go real technical on anything. Okay, now let's go like this. Okay. We're going to definitely have water, because I always have water. See, I like the way that looks already. See, don't those peaks look cool? And for the most part, the color is semi-transparent, a little bit transparent. So it looks really nice. So now what I'm going to do, is what I think I'm going to do. I wasn't going to, but I'm going to now. Originally, I was going to use my 2-inch brush, 1.5, I'm sorry. And I was going to, put on my highlights. I'm not going to do that. The way this is turning out, I'm going to go with my knife. And I'm going to put on highlights with the knife. So obviously they're going to be a little thicker. Okay, so when your knife, we can touch and like this. I'm not going to do a lot of that. I'm going to do mainly, how we do our water a lot of times, where I'll just touch it and go back like that. We're going to do the same thing with these, and I'm going to see how it looks. We may adjust it, but we may not. Let's see. I don't want too much blue in that part of it, because I'm going to want some shadows. So we'll just go to the top. Touch it. There we go. Come on this side, make it a little easier. And these are so, not completely upright, but close enough upright where your shadow, I'm not going to be a shadow there. The sun's not going to hit that. So I'll put highlight's not going to be that low. Okay. Wipe off the knife. Get this out of there because there's no way the sun's going to go down into there. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put some blue in here. I'm going to put a little bit of shadow in here. It was too blue, so that's why I'm continually putting it down. And I'm basically rubbing it in. I'm mixing it with my color that I put down. You don't have to go crazy. Just get a little bit. And then I'm going to re-establish my highlights. And I know right now it looks like a mess. Trust me, it will get better. There we go. Okay. Wipe off the knife. Now, one of the things I want to do, let me see if I can find one here. Well, I'm running out of stuff. So I'm just going to use my 1-inch brush. Okay. So what I want to do is I'm not worried about the highlights messing them up right now because we're going to readjust them. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that my shadows look good. And then I'll reestablish the highlights and then our mountains will be done. And then we'll put a lot of foliage and pine trees in between them and stuff. Okay. So we've got all this on there. So the knife gave us a good start. Now just very lightly, barely touching. Okay. Just stroking the paint to get it to where it doesn't look quite as out of place. And I'm following contours a bit. Now you got the white in here that's mixed with the blue, and that's why you're looking at, now it's getting a lot more opaque. And that's what you want with oil paint. You want it to get opaque eventually. Not in the beginning, but definitely towards the mid and the end. Now this one, it's a little bit more on an angle, so we'll just use it that way. There we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do, this brush I can actually clean because I'm going to need it for something else later. We'll take a smaller knife now. Now actually we'll use the same one we did. Now I'm going to go with some raw sienna and white. There we go. So we got the raw sienna and white taken on. On this one, I'm going to have to go the whole way from the top, just because of the way the stroke has to go. So please forgive my arm in the way. And I'm basically touching and barely dragging. I'm going to a couple other places that may have the light shining through. go. Now, the edges are not the only thing on these mountains that'll have a highlight on them. Figure if the sun's coming like this, you're going to have a couple more ridges of light. And those we'll get in a minute. We're just getting the edges set first. Okay, now let's get these. And these are just going to be little splatterings here and there where the light's going to shine through in certain areas and certain areas it won't. Wipe off the knife. One of the things about a knife painting is cool is you don't need solvents or anything else, you just need paper towels. Okay, so that does not look too bad. It's going to look even better once we get our pine trees in. So let's go with our Viridian and Payne's Gray. I'm going to go with more Payne's Gray than anything. We'll put these puppies all the way up to the top. Now there's going to be a lot of places where the highlight's going to be showing through and everything else. It's hard to explain, but when I see a lot of it in nature, a lot of glow comes through different areas. And I don't want to cover all of that up. I want to leave some mountains to where you can see it. See, this is what I want to, I'm going to finish this part and then I'm going to show you what I did. Unless I do a mountainscape where the mountains are the only things that I worry about, and that's the focal point, I'm going to cover up most of the mountains as I go. Well, not most, but, well, yeah, more than 50% is most, so yeah. So, you can see the peaks and the highlights of the peaks in the distance. Okay? You can see a base mountain. You can see certain things like that. But once I hit the Cadmium Yellow Light Hue with the palette knife, remember our technique? We touch and we lift, we touch and we lift. Now we're going to see the forest in the midground, and then our mountains are now background. Okay? And then we'll figure out down here what we're going to have for water and foliage and whatever the case may be. So, we'll go with our same 1.5 inch brush. We'll just get the cad yellow down. And then we'll take our palette knife and we'll spread it around and shape it. Go. Almost there. Oop, too much sheet paint. Thick is good. Too thick, not so much. There we go. Okay. That works. Now we will take a good sized palette knife. I've got bigger, but this size painting, this will work. If I did a 16 by 20, I'd probably use that like normal. And remember, we're just going to take it, flatten, touch, and lift. And then we're going to let the brush and the wood do all the work. And we're doing two things. We're shaping and we're blending the cad yellow so it's actually green. And yes, I'm going right to the top of the panel. Actually the wood. Well, it's a wood panel. It's the ampersand. It's really good stuff. But you see how nice the shape looks now? And I'm not having it completely flat in some areas. Some areas I'm on a little angle, other areas I'm completely flat. It's just what I want for the shape. The more you use the knife, the more comfortable you're going to get, and the more you're going to see all kinds of beautiful little things you can do with it. There we go. There we go. This is how that looks in the distance. That looks pretty good, actually. Okay, so now I'm going to take some yellow on the knife. I'm going to give some kind of a pasture here. It doesn't matter that it goes real thick like I just had just now. It doesn't matter. Because you're going to keep blending it in by touching. Okay, that's all you're going to do. You're going to keep blending it in. And now you got a bunch of different nice colors. Okay, now clean off your knife. Now this next little technique is a little tricky, but you can do it. Now normally I would take a brush, fan brush or any brush, and go up like this, okay, to get the look of, wild grass in the front. We're going to do it with the knife, okay? We're going to give it a try. So you want to go very light, and you want to go on a slight angle, so you can have the edge of the blade. You're not going to be flat. You can have the edge, and then you're going to go just little flicks, okay? Then you're going to go really, really light pressure. You're going to barely be touching. Basically, you can see the texture of the paint is coming out. You're going to barely touch that part of the paint. You're not even going to touch the paint that's touching the board. You're going to be the stuff that's sticking out. Okay, and it's very light pressure. See how that goes up like that? Barely touching. You can do waterfalls like this too with the palette knife, and then you're just bringing it down. Now we're going up higher with different parts of it. And you can see how some are higher, some are lower. That's where you start to get some of that art. Okay, so wipe that off. And I gotta wipe off my 1.5 inch brush because we gotta start putting in some water. Now I haven't washed the brush yet. I still got, you can see the Cad Yellow Light in there. Doesn't matter. There's a lot of green all over the place, so there's going to be green in the water anyway. So I'm not going to come down here. I'm going to go right into this grass anyway. Right into the grass. There we go. Come back down this way. Okay, now we'll go with more blue. Right now, I'm not even caring what it looks like. I just want my water line of where it's going to be established in correlation to the land. That's all I'm caring about right now. Okay, so now needs more blue. And I got a lot of green in here, so this is mixing together, and this is now giving me a realistic look for water for this particular landscape. There we go. And now I'm just getting this really smooth and blended. This isn't, from a waterfall or anything else, so this is going to be pretty calm as far as the waters. Okay, so next thing I want to do, I am going to put in some reflections. I'm not going to put in a ton. I just want the hint of some. Okay, that's all I want to do, just to give the hint. I still want a decent amount of blue in here for the water. And I'm just tapping them in, just like I did the other ones. The only difference is these were much thicker paint. This isn't. Okay, so now technically there would be reflections for those mountains with that highlight. I'm not even going to bother. I'm just going to have some reflections for this. I might put a couple little highlight things in there of the raw sienna at the bottom. Actually, why don't we do that? Let's just put a little bit in. I don't want to go overboard. So if that's going to go like this, then it's going to go like this, right? So let's just there wouldn't. Over there it would. So a little bit of indications where that would be. There to there. That one's almost at the top. There we go. Okay. Now the next part of this is the crucial part for highlights. Now, if you want to do a complete mirrored reflection that's hyper realistic and everything else, you can take 4 hours just to do the reflections, or a couple of days I've seen people do. I don't have that kind of patience. I'd love to sometimes, but I don't have that kind of patience. So I like it the way it is. So now what we're going to do is we've got all our stuff in, okay? And the only thing I got to put in a little bit more of, not drop everything, excuse me, a little more cad yellow. I almost forgot this part. I'm putting it right at the base. Not going real thick, but a little thick. Right at the base. So basically I want this and this to mirror each other. This is going to go up a little bit. There we go. Okay. So now we take the brush, and what we're going to do is we're going to take everything from this new line I just put in down, and we're going to go very gently. Okay, you see the way I'm holding the brush. You got to go straight down. straighter the better. Okay, wipe off the brush, don't clean it. You don't want any solvent on this whatsoever, because that'll just dig right through it. And now you're gonna go straight across, right below the stuff that we went up with the palette knife. Right below that, you're gonna start going in horizontal strokes. Again, pretty light. Okay, there you go. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use a fan brush just to reestablish here. Fan brush is going to give me a little bit more control than the knife. I just want to make sure I have a nice little thing there. That was literally all I'm going to use the fan brush for. And now, we'll use our big palette knife, and we'll get in our water lines right at the base. There we go. Again, try to keep these as straight as possible, horizontal. Obviously, they don't have to be perfect, it's moving water. And I'm going to use my 1-inch brush to kind of diffuse them all. So what I'm going to do, make sure I got no solvent on here. I'm going to go real gently and just give a little bit of movement, of pushing. This is just like we do clouds. Pushing the paint. Go. Just slightly blending it. There we go. That's looking pretty good. Excuse me. Go back to our 1.5. A little bit of Viridian, a little bit of Umber, a little bit of Payne's Gray. Now we got our land. There we go. Wipe that off. Got a bunch of paint on my finger. Actually, if you'll excuse me for one moment, I have to put out a few more paper towels. We're almost done, so I don't need a ton of them. One of the things about these 9x12s, 8x10s, stuff like that, those small paintings, what's real nice is, obviously you don't need as much paint and stuff. You don't need as much time. So on YouTube videos, I want to see if people like the bigger ones that take over an hour, the smaller ones that take, like we're almost done and we're at 34 minutes. So probably about half the time right there. Okay, so now I'm going to take my Cad Yellow. My palette knife. I'm just going to put in some grass. A little bit goes into the water, doesn't matter. There we go. Take our brush and we're going to go into Payne's Gray and our French Ultramarine. I'm going to make this all the way across where there's land. Wasn't planning on it, but it just looks right to me. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow. Just lift up little grasses here and there. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to take our foliage brush, little flowers brush that we use all the time now, straight into my Alizarin Crimson. I'm going to put on our nice thick flowers. Then what we're going to do is put a few over here. Break up a little bit of the green. And then the same thing over here. There we go. Okay. Now, today, instead of using the yellow and go with orange, we're going to go with white. There we go. A couple of them over in the back. Not as much. And that, my friends, is a completed painting. I hope everybody is having a great weekend and enjoying yourself. And I hope you give this one a try. Again, we did a little bit of kind of haphazard stuff. I knew I wanted pointy mountains. Everything else we kind of did a wing it type of thing. So if you have any questions, comments, you like it, you hate it, give it a thumbs up, thumbs down. Give me a comment. Hey, this sucks. Hey, this is awesome. Regardless, just keep painting. Make sure you have fun. And I hope everybody has a safe and wonderful rest of the work week. Talk to you later.